Cuffs are off, man. Get right. Too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gon'.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up everybody? It's Marcus Grant from NFL Network.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up. Yeah, go and roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down, cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right, cause I roll my sleeves up.
What up? What up? What up, world? We're back. I'm Anthony, aka Rasta. This is Get Right Fantasy Network. And I'm here by myself tonight for the moment here because Mr. Classic Mike is enjoying a night in the town. So happy birthday to him. So he's enjoying a good night out. So you got me here with you tonight. And it's just me and you guys out there. So anything you guys got going on, any questions, you guys just let me know. But we're getting ready, man, for week 14. It's the last week of your regular season. It's here already. Might be a tune-up game for some of you guys who are clinched. Maybe you're in a win or go home type situation. So let us know where you're sitting at, what you need to happen this week. And of course, we'll be here with you tonight doing our start sit game by game breakdowns, letting you know who we're starting, who we're sitting here this week. And for those of you guys who are new to the channel, we are here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Mondays, we do our overreaction waiver wire targets. Wednesdays, we're talking roster management. How to, sell, trade, add, drop, how you're doing, like I said, the start and sit game by games. And then Sunday mornings, we're back here with you doing our actives and inactive lists when those come out, getting your lineups right before kickoff. So if you guys want to just check out the specific games, make sure you guys check out the timestamps and the chapters that'll be down in the description. And make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for us, man. We're soaring here past 1,000 subs. So we're continuing to climb on our way to 2,000 here. So we do appreciate the support. We are going to be actually doing our 1,000 subscriber ring giveaway here tonight. So we will be giving this thing away here tonight, getting it ordered for you and delivered. So make sure you get into the chat. I have the link in there. If you haven't already, make sure you go follow those instructions and leave the comment there, and we'll be doing that comment picker a little bit later here tonight. So let me get this thing off the screen here. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, we're always taking your live Q&As, and if you guys do like that ring, it is from us, our boys over here at TrophySmack.com. So if you guys want a ring like that, maybe a belt. They have a bunch of other things that you can do, regular trophies, your Kirk Cousins chains. So go check out TrophySmack.com. Use that promo code GetRight, and that will help support the channel. So let's see, man. What else do we got here? So let's talk about this Thursday night game. So Thursday night football, we had the Patriots at the Steelers. It was an interesting game. Don't know where you guys were at with Zeke, but he had a big night. You had Bailey Zappi going in there, throwing for 3 touchdowns just in the first half. And then, we had a Hunter Henry sighting again. So we'll see what happens with him. 2 touchdowns on the night. I don't think that's going to be, really sustainable. On the Steelers side of the ball, it's tough seeing TJ Watt, kind of get hurt early on. I don't know how big of a difference, that made. And then just more importantly, this whole Najee Warren backfield split is kind of interesting as well. Also, what do we do with these, wide receivers? Deontay Pickens, kind of throwing fits. So, it's interesting to see how that happened. I didn't think the Patriots hadn't scored 21 points for the longest time, and I don't think it's probably been 4 or 5 games since they've scored that. And so to see them kind of take it to the Steelers, it was almost a detriment on their part because now they have, basically like got a worse, kind of draft pick for that. You'd rather kind of still lose that game, and bad loss for the Steelers there, of course, with no Kenny Pickett. So it was an interesting game. We'll see how these two teams, go. Apparently, Pickett's going to be getting back here soon. So, we'll see what happens if they can make a run. But I, starting to see them, basically starting to fall off here. And, hopefully Ramondre comes back here soon. So there we go. Let's see here. Let's do this and get this out of the way. All right. So for those of you guys who are new to Underdog Fantasy, make sure you guys go check them out or download the app. Underdog Fantasy is basically a best ball platform. They have some really cool preseason tournaments, best ball drafts like the Best Ball Mania 4, where you can take home $3 million. Basically, you just draft your team. No waivers, no trading, no setting your lineup each week. Just basically draft it and forget it. And again, like with the Best Ball Mania, you can get almost $3 million. What I like to do, of course, are those pick'ems. Basically just picking higher, lower with touchdowns, completions, defensive players, tackles, sacks, interceptions. You can basically win 20 times your money. So go sign up with that promo code GetRight. And when you do, you'll get that 100% deposit match when you make that first deposit. And in addition to that, for new customers, when you sign up, in addition to that deposit match, you will get a free pick'em. A new customer special, higher or lower, just half a total yards. And this week it is Dak Prescott, higher or lower than half a total yard. So basically a free pick. So again, make sure you guys go check that out and use that promo code GetRight when you do. All right. So let's just move on here into the games. And let's throw up a quick banner here, I guess. That'll help with the timestamps later. So first game on the docket is going to be Bucks, who are 5-7, heading into Atlanta to face the Falcons, who are 6-6. And starting off here with 40.5 point over-under is where it looks like we're sitting at now. Atlanta is favored by 2. So as far as guys that I'm starting are sitting in here, obviously we're not touching Ritter. Baker, if you really need to. Obviously a lot other options that are out there. What to do with Bijan? Here, of course, you're going to start him. I think I have him as top 12 this week. And then Rashad White, I like as well. Even though Atlanta, has kind of had a tough defense here, I think there's an opportunity for White to, continue what he's been doing. I like Mike Evans. He should have a good game here as well. And as far as Godwin, I kind of have him as a sit at the moment. I'd also probably kind of sit London right here unless you really needed to. Bucks have been able to, kind of get God here through the air a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, there's six most fantasy points against the wide receivers. But I just don't really trust the Atlanta passing offense there. So, yeah, I mean, I think Evans, again, Evans is good. I'm sitting, Pitts. I'm sitting London. But, he could have a big game if they connect. So we'll see how it goes. Other than that, where I'm sitting Kate Otten as far as tight ends. Again, Pitts and Smith. If you really need to, you can throw one of those guys in there. I'm not really big on the tight ends, but just, neither one of them's fine. But I'm sitting Otten. The one time I tried to play him, he did nothing for me. So that's Bucks Falcons. We'll get into some questions here. When you got them, drop them in the chat. We have Nino in here saying, would you rather have Howell or Dobbs for the playoffs? So if I bring up the schedule here for Sam Howell with Washington, 15, 16, 17 gets Rams, Jets, San Francisco. And then you have Dobbs in Minnesota with Cincinnati, Detroit, Green Bay. So tough choice. I mean, obviously Howell leading the league like in passing yards. But I mean, you got Justin Jefferson coming back here with Dobbs, so I'd wait and kind of see how Dobbs does here in the offense with Justin Jefferson, and if you can hold on to him here through the weekend, that's what I'd rather do. But I'm kind of leaning, Dobbs based on the schedule. But there is some upside, but downside with Howell. So depends on what you want to do there, but I'm kind of leaning Dobbs with Jefferson. So appreciate that. And then we have Dustin Poole in the house. What's up, Dustin? How's it going? He's saying he needs two full PPR, two flex. So we have Devonta Smith, Josh Downs, Austin Eckler, Keaton Mitchell, Walker, and Charbonnet, both questionable. Drop Seahawks and pick up both Kansas City running backs. Thanks for the help. So let's break this down here. So as far as the two guys I'm flexing there, I'd have to go Devonta Smith and Eckler. I do like the matchup here for Indy, which we'll get into here a little later. Against the Bengals, we saw what the Jags. It was a pretty big shootout last week, but I think their defense is, it could be got here at the moment. So I would say I want to give Eckler one more chance here. You saw our boy here in the start of the show. It's hard to say no to him. So I got to see some turnaround there. So give me Eckler, give me Devonta Smith. I'll take my chances with them this week. So I'm playing them in a couple different leagues. So I'm there with you, Destin. But I could see how you're kind of getting away, would want to get away from Eckler, and if you want to kind of go Josh Downs against the Bengals, I could see why you'd want to do that. Devonta Smith should be in a shootout with the Cowboys there, so he's for sure. Walker Charbonnet, I'm not playing, against the Niners. I'm not dropping them either for CH or any other, Jerick McKinnon or anybody else there. So I'd still hold on to Walker and Charbonnet, and Smith and Eckler is who I'm rolling with. All right. So Nino saying he appreciates that, and any worries about Gibbs? He was kind of thinking about Rice versus Buffalo instead. Ooh, that's tough. I have a league where now that I have Jefferson coming back, I have to bench Rice in several leagues because he was kind of the guy I've called up in that situation, and it's hard for me to get away from that shootout in Buffalo, man, or at the Chiefs, but against Buffalo, I'm gonna have some serious decisions to make, man, because I understand how and why you want to get Rice in your lineup, and trying to sit him now. I'm happy a couple places where I have him. I'm already clinched. So in those leagues, when it comes to Sunday, I'll probably just kind of take a chance and throw him in there just to kind of see and get a feel for it. But really just that I could see why it's really tough because Gibbs has been looking good as well. But yeah, man, you have to come ask me on Sunday, man, because that's tough. Because I love me some Rashee Rice, man. I think he has a chance to really, really pop here. So we'll see what happens, man. So good luck. Let me know what you end up doing. And good luck, man. So we got Craig in the house. What's up, Craig? How's it going? He said, would you start in or who would you start in a tiered PPR league, Nico or Swift? I'm probably going Nico, especially with Swift. He got rocked against my Niners last week. He is questionable kind of coming into this thing. And we haven't really seen him get 20 carries, in a while. So Nico, obviously with no Tank Dell there, he had almost a career year, I think, or a career day it was last week. So to me, man, give me some Nico. Give me some Nico. So appreciate the question, man. And Craig saying GRFN 1000. So make sure you guys see that pin chat that's there. We're going to be doing the 1K subscriber giveaway here tonight. Want to get some more people in here. And I have a special guest coming on here shortly. So we got some stuff, more stuff in store for you guys here soon. So if you haven't already, make sure you guys go follow this link. Go leave the comment GRFN 1000 on that video, and we are going to be giving away this ring. So there it is. Ooh. All right, so got that up there for you guys. Who else we got in here? Dustin's in here saying thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Absolutely. Nino saying he said, yeah, LOL, I gotta go that route because Kirk is on IR now, so I'm left with Amon-Ra, Pittman, and Rice, and so I want to feel comfortable with starting him in the playoffs. So yeah, man, not a bad wide receiver core there. And yeah, man, I hope Rice can kind of catch fire and be that Amon-Ra, of a couple years ago, and have a strong finish, maybe like Christian Watson did last year. So we're still waiting to see who that league winner is going to be, and you can't be afraid to, get that into your lineup. So yeah, this is the perfect week to do that, man. If you're clinched, that's what you play hard for throughout the year. So this is when you can kind of take some of those chances and just, get in tune with those spidey senses as you're setting your lineups every morning or every Sunday. So there you go. We got Albert in the house, always supporting the stream. What's up, Albert? How's it going, man? Make sure you leave that hashtag GRFN1000 in the link down below there. So make sure you guys get in there because we will be giving that ring away. We have a Blue Crew in the house saying full PPR, Montgomery or Zach Moss. This was a tough choice for me here. I got to go back to my rankings. I had Moss kind of up there at first, but I love me some David Montgomery. But yeah, I have Moss in there at basically number 4. I go McCaffrey, Kamara, HN, and Moss are my top 4 running backs this week. I have Demon at 7, so just a little bit behind. But who else are you playing that you have to sit one of these guys? Blue Crew, let me know. So Craig said Swift has been disappointing lately and pretty inefficient. Yep, we were kind of staying that. He says start CH or McKinnon or Derrick Henry. He just lost Pacheco. Oh man, that sucks. I'm going King Henry. I know he kind of got banged up. As long as he's like cleared from this concussion little incident, I never, it's rough, pretty rare when Henry gets hit pretty hard. But as long as he's healthy and ready to go, I like his matchup this week. I have him as my RB10 against Miami. If Miami jumps out on him, I could see that happening, where Henry might go to the wayside, and it could be a lot of Tajay Spears. So I understand the risk there. But at the same time, I just think this is like a Mahomes game. Like, I don't think any of the Kansas City running backs are really going to do anything. Might have like 9 carries for 25 yards or something. So I think Moss comes out and Mahomes comes out and does some things this year or this game. All right, so we got Lucius in the house. Got Lucius saying, apologies in advance for a kicker question. Oh, no worries. But it's playoffs. Dustin Hopkins or Brandon Aubrey. Man, I'm probably going to go. I like what Aubrey's been doing. I just want to see what Dallas's schedule is here. What is the weather going to be like? So we got Dallas playoffs. So they're going to be for playoffs at Buffalo, at Miami, home for Detroit. So really only got to worry about the Buffalo game here in a couple of weeks. Week 15. Depending on what that weather's going to be. But But again, it should be a shootout. Buffalo's going to be playing for their life. Dak's trying to be MVP. They're going to need to put up points. And yeah, I mean, I think you just roll with Aubrey, man. Roll with Aubrey. There we go. Craig said Moss should feast this week. Yep, that's what I'm hoping for too. I also have I probably have Mixon a little higher than I should have him at the moment. I think let me go back. Got me on my kicker rankings. Jeez Louise. Let's see. Yeah, I have Mixon at 6. I have him actually ahead of Montgomery. I think he could be due for one of those 2 touchdown games again. So, yeah, I might have Mixon a little high. Let's see. Will saying Montgomery or Achane in full PPR. I have Achane. Achane I have as I think my number 3 this week. You see what he can do. I mean, that guy's just incredible. They run him. Mostert's finally a little banged up. He has questionable tag coming into the week. So yeah, give me some Achane. So we got Blue Crew asking ETN his other running back. Yeah, you're not sitting ETN, and he has Mike Evans at the flex. Yeah, and you're not sitting him either, man. Yeah, that's tough. Nice. Gosh, would I sit man? See, Moss is like the play you do with your head, but my heart tells me to go Montgomery. Like I can't, because if Moss didn't have a good game, I'd be like, why would I sit Moss over Montgomery when you know what you're gonna get from D-Mont? Like I just couldn't live with myself if Moss wouldn't ball out, and then D-Mont has 2 touchdowns and like 80 yards. So, and he still catches the ball here every once in a while. So there you go. What else we got in here? Craig saying, do you think Moss has earned a starting gig somewhere following this year? I mean, he could. There's definitely some places out there. He may, just stay. Who knows, what's going to go on. I mean, I guess Jonathan Taylor's there. So does he go somewhere else and do something? I don't know, man. It's too early to tell. Let's see how he finishes. I don't know. I mean, maybe Cleveland would want him. Maybe Zach Moss in Cleveland. As Nick Chubb heals up, I might. You heard it here first. Nick Chubb or Zach Moss to Cleveland next year. All right, we got Gorilla in the house saying pick 2: Mixon, Bijan, Ford, and Moss. Ooh, I think I have Mixon and Moss. I think are my 2 highest ranked. If I was going to go off my rankings, I don't trust Arthur Smith still with Bijan. I mean, I have him as 8, but I have Mixon and Moss ahead of him. So Ford's the one for sure I'm getting away from. But yeah. And he has Pacheco down. So yeah. So I'm probably going to go. Man, again, I kick myself if Moss had a bad game and I could have started Mixon and Bijan instead. I think you got to get Bijan in there. You drafted him for it. So you kind of just got to go for it. I think with that, it's not a tough matchup. Kind of against the Bucks, like they're not great against the run. So even more to pass catching running back. So yeah, I think you got to go Bijan and Moss. I would roll Bijan and Moss there. That's a tough one though. But if you want to go Mixon instead of Moss, I wouldn't blame you. But I do have Moss higher. So there we go. All right, sorry to draw that all the way out. All right, so make sure if you guys are watching, man, just again, we will be giving away the 1,000 subscriber ring. So make sure you go leave the comment there. We're going to be doing a random comment picker. Leave that hashtag on that video, and we'll be doing that here shortly. Got a guest coming up here soon, so just waiting for him to get here, and we'll get into that. So, let me get this off. I'm not talking Bucks anymore. Yeah, if you guys got questions, anything you want to add in there, let me know where you're sitting with your teams here this week. What do you need to have happen? Are you clinched already? What's your seeding? What are you feeling like? You think you can bring it home? Let us know. So until then, let's get into the next one here. We're gonna go Rams, who are 6-6, heading to Baltimore to play the Ravens, who are 9-3. You have the Ravens favored by 7.5 with an over/under of 40. So in this game here, of course, you're starting Lamar in this situation. On you know Keaton Mitchell is very interesting. They're coming off the bye. Is he gonna you know get a little more work in there? Is it still a split here with Gus Bus, or they just going to run it enough for both of them to be relevant? I think it's tough. If I had to pick between the two, I'm starting Gus over Mitchell. Just not quite there yet as far as that goes. As far as the receivers go, um, looks like Bateman and Odell Beckham are good to go. So, they should be no issues with them there. I'm probably sitting both of them unless I have, other options. Like maybe I can see maybe if you want to get Odell in there. But again, he is, a little banged up. Bateman hasn't really done much this year, unfortunately, even though he's my guy. Hope he can still come around here. And then as far as tight ends go with Isaiah Likely, you can try to get him in here if you really need to, if you're in a tight end situation. But there's several other ones that I'd rather go with over Likely. So I probably have him closer to a low end tight end 2 this week. As far as the Rams side of the ball, obviously Rams have been hot lately. Stafford, I think, has had 5 or 6 touchdowns in the last 2 games after not throwing a multi-touchdown game, for several weeks. You have Kupp apparently now healthy, was kind of off the injury report here. You have Puka Nacua, who was dealing with the shoulder, but it looks like he's going to be, good to go. He was practicing this week. But Tyler Higbee, they are going to be missing, dealing with a neck stinger. Not officially out. They have him listed as doubtful, though, dealing with that neck. So hopefully that means plenty of targets for Kupp and Nacua. And we'll just see what they could do, with them against this Ravens defense. So see if the line could hold up and give Stafford some time to do something. Tutu Atwell might be a sneaky play as well. So we'll see. And then whoever the backup tight end for the Rams is, I don't even know. So probably definitely not starting him. So that's, pretty much it for Rams Ravens. So, oops. There we go. All right, so let's get that going here, and we'll jump into the next game. We got a couple things here in the chat, though. Let's see. We have Gorilla asking pick 2 wide receivers and a flex. So Garrett Wilson, Puka Nacua, Zay Flowers, Noah Brown. Then he has Jerome Ford and Joe Mixon. So first off, we have to pick 2 wide receivers. I think Puka is my for sure. And got Brown going up against the Jets, Wilson going up against the Houston with Zach Wilson back. He did actually play pretty well with Zach Wilson earlier in the year. And see Flowers just coming off that big Thursday night game with the reverse and all that. Again, you got Odell, Bateman are back. I'm probably going to go Puka for sure. And then it's going to be between Wilson and Flowers. I probably roll with Flowers just because I want to see at least a game here with Wilson, especially if you're like need the win this week, like more so Flowers. If you're already clinched and you want to just see how it goes with Wilson and have him in there, then go ahead and go that route. But I'm going Puka and Flowers, and then if I had to flex somebody else, that's where you could either go Wilson if it's full PPR possibly, and then if it's like half or standard, then I'm going to go Mixon there at my flex. So there you go. We have Ethan asking Bijan or Gibbs this week. We were kind of talking about that earlier. I think I have him like big. Oh no, Gibbs I have down a little farther. So I have Bijan against this Tampa defense. I have him at my number 8 RB overall. I have Gibbs as my RB 12 against Chicago. Chicago's defense has been pretty decent. I might have to actually adjust that down a bit, but I do want to see. It's allowed. Tampa Bay. So they're giving up the 23 most. It's basically they're like the 10th best against running back still right now as far as that goes. So yeah, definitely gonna go Bijan. But I could see how you'd want to potentially go Gibbs there. Where's that? What's Chicago? Yeah, Bears are 12th best, so a little better matchup with Gibbs. But I'll take my chances with Bijan. That's how you drafted him. So we have Gorilla saying, I've had Browns defense for the past weeks. They're good, just not been fantasy good lately. Dropped in for the Texans D this week, and he may pick the Browns back up. So what are my thoughts on that? The same way. I think I had to pick up somebody else's defense. I'm also sashing the Eagles defense for 16 and 17. But let me see here with Cleveland. Yeah, they're playing Chicago, Houston, and the Jets. So I like them for Chicago and week 17. You can pick them back up. Houston, I wouldn't really maybe start them at Houston in Houston. On the road. I'd much rather have those home matchups against Chicago and against Zach Wilson, or who knows, he'll be quarterback by week 17. And then as far as just the Texans, if you just hold on to them directly, they get Tennessee, Cleveland, Tennessee going up against Will Levis twice, and then the third string quarterback Joe Flacco possibly there. So I could see how you definitely would, again, you get the Jets this week, which is why you picked them up. You get Titans next week, and then Cleveland Titans again. Yeah, I mean, I'd roll with Houston, and then if somebody picks up Cleveland, I wouldn't be tripping about it. Like, I still think you can roll through the playoffs, Tennessee, Cleveland, Tennessee, with that Houston D, the way they've been playing. So, yeah. And if you want to just pick them up for the 1 week for 17, I could see how you could do that too, as long as you have the space. So there you go. All right. And then he's saying he had Jake Moody and he dropped him for Gay this week. What do you think about that? Moody probably should have a decent day here against the Seahawks at home. I'm not sure what the weather is supposed to be like there. But then you have Gay. How has he been doing? I don't think I've had him this year. Let me see where he's ranked here. So yeah. So now that I'm thinking about it, the Cincinnati game, I think it's raining. I don't know if it's going to be raining on game time, but I think throughout the week it's been showing that it has the little rain icon on there. So just double check that, because you might have to go pick Moody or somebody else back up, because I personally hate playing kickers that are dealing with the rain. That's why I went and got Groupie in several places, the New Orleans kicker, because he's basically kicking in a dome basically the rest of the year except for week 17, and he'll be in Tampa, and I can switch stuff out week 17. So so just keep an eye on that weather in regards to Gay, but they should have a decent game against Cincinnati, like a decent kicking game. Their defense is decent, but they'll give up points. So he said he also he's a good QB, but injuries suck. What's your opinion about Herbert this week? Man, I'm all in on Herbert in several places. I have like Herbert, Allen stacks everywhere. I mean, I really hope he comes through. he just because his good games are great, and then he just has these like down games, and you think with Kellen Moore, I mean, it's almost very similar to kind of like Dak Prescott last year, right? But I mean, I still have him. I mean, I'm not sitting him. Like I have him right now as QB9. I'd play Brock ahead of him. I think Fields because he's ran for like 100 yards against Detroit the last however many times he's played them. You got Lamar, Tua, Mahomes, Allen, Prescott, Hurts, all ahead of him. But before I start to get to guys like Stroud, Love, Wilson, Josh Dobbs, Goff, Geno, Baker, those type of guys. Like I got Herbert right there, so he's like right at that cutoff of the last like decent QB. Before you get into guys that are like, yeah, how am I in this situation? I should have grabbed QB just a little bit earlier. But yeah, so hopefully the rest of your team's stacked and you don't have to worry about it too much. But yeah, so keep the questions coming. For anybody new jumping in here, make sure you left your comment, the hashtag GRFN1000 on the pinned, comment in there in the chat, as we're going to be doing that 1,000 subscriber giveaway when our guest joins us here shortly. We have Neanderthal in the house. What's up, Neanderthal? How's it going, man? He says, is Flacco playing again this week? So I believe they said DTR clear concussion protocol, but they haven't made a decision on that yet. Let me see. Do I have a note in here? Yeah. So specifically, Stefanski said on who would start for QB on Sunday. He said, "I'm not going to name the starter." So he literally came out, quoted, "I'm not going to name the starter." So we don't know yet. I'm sure we'll get inklings as we get closer to kickoff, of course. They'll start saying, oh, someone's, with the ones, looks like he's going to start. So it might truly go right up until game time. Yeah, I'll get into it a little bit more when we do that Jags-Browns game. So let's see here. We have Gorilla saying, got Kelsey and McBride at tight end. McBride's on a bye. I like how he said that. He's like, yeah, normally I'd be playing McBride, but, he has a bye this week, so I guess I'll throw Kelsey in there. Nice little flex there. I hope Kelsey and Mahomes have a big week this week. I hope I'm not playing Kelsey somewhere, but I just need Mahomes mainly to have a good week. But just for football in general, they need to be better. Things are better when that's happening. So there we go. He says, appreciate you, homie. Y'all hit that like. So yeah, hit that like button, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support coming out here. And again, make sure you have that hashtag GRFN1000 in that 1,000 subscriber giveaway video. We will do a random comment picker coming up here when our guest joins us. So we got Jeff in the house here. He says, Jefferson's coming back. Should I drop the Cowboys or drop the Texans, who he just picked up? So you got the Cowboys, of course, going up against the Eagles, but this Cowboys defense has been good. Texans have a good matchup this week against the Jets. Yeah, man. Who else do you have that you could drop, man? That's I'm normally hate doing that. So you'd have to just ride with the Cowboys against the Eagles this week if you didn't want to drop the Cowboys defense. But the Texans have. We were just kind of asking a similar question but it was against the Cleveland defense, and the Texans don't have that bad of a matchup. So they get the Jets, they get Tennessee, they get Cleveland, and then they get Tennessee again in week 17. So I'd say if you did drop the Cowboys, because obviously Jefferson's worth either one of these. So if you do feel like just getting the better matchup this week, if you're already clinched, then I'd say just go ahead and drop the Texans, and you can roll with the Cowboys D. Who exactly do they play again? I know I just brought it up. Buffalo, Miami, Detroit. Maybe just drop Dallas. Those are some tough offenses, like 3 of the best offenses in the league that you're playing in your fantasy, and 2 of them you're on the road. So maybe just drop the Dallas defense and roll with the Texans. That's tough to say, but when you kind of look at it, that might be the way to go. Because you get Jets this week, Tennessee next week at Tennessee, then they're home against Cleveland and home against Tennessee 16 and 17. So I might just roll with the Texans D, man. I might just roll with them. He says Texans are also good for the entire playoffs. Only other droppable players I have are Warren, Gus, Moss, and Charbonnet, and he has Walker. Yeah, I could see how maybe you want to do Charbonnet, but honestly, I don't think you're missing too much with that Dallas playoff schedule. I mean, they're playing against Buffalo, Josh Allen. They're playing against Miami, Tua, and Reek, trying to set records on people. They're not going to be taking it easy. And then what's the last game? Detroit, one of the top offenses, playoff teams in the league. I think they're actually the number 1 seed almost right now. So, yeah, I might just roll with the Texans D, man. Roll with the Texans D. All right. So let's see. If you got any more questions, start sit, or just let me know how your team's doing, what you need to happen this week. Are you playing to get in? Are you trying to play for a bye week? What's going on? Let me know in the chat. Otherwise, we'll get to our next breakdown here, which we just did Rams Ravens. So let's cue it up here. Let's do it. So we have Lions coming in 9-3 at the Bears, who are 4-8. We have Detroit favored by 3.5 with a 43-point over/under. Should be decent game. Oh, I have our guest here. He's here. Are you ready to come on? All right, let's do it. So you guys know him as the man of many names. Some may know him. I originally met him as Papa Conks. Then there was a name change. He became the Tycoon, as you guys know him, the host of the Fantasy Boardroom. Tycoon in the house, aka the best dressed man in fantasy football, but it is Friday, so we're going casual tonight. But it's Snyder Gear. We're rocking it. How's it going,
Absolutely.
Tycoon? What's up, man?
Doing beautiful, man. How are you, Rasta?
Doing good, man. Just I feel like I haven't been behind the mic for a while, man. Being sick and everything. It's been crazy. At least I've had the league chats to still talk, but coming on and doing a show, it feels like it's almost a new thing again, which is fun.
Yeah, after the extended break, it does feel it's kind of like riding a bike. You get back into it quick.
Yeah.
The first few minutes in particular, it's kind of you're going.
Yeah, it was a little rough there. I had to see what I was, getting into, especially going solo. At least when you have somebody here like
true.
this, you can pick up on the energy and go back and forth. But yeah, so we got through it. We're here, man. So I was gonna just do this breakdown, but we can get back to that.
Let's finish Lions Bears, and then we'll get to it.
You want to do it? All right, so let's do it. So let's talk for the timestamps. Here we go. I'll reset it up. We have Lions coming in 9-3 in Chicago against these Bears, who are 4-8. We have Detroit coming in at a 3.5-point favorite with a 43-point over/under. So let's talk start sit here in this game. We'll start with the quarterbacks. You have obviously Jared Goff on one side going against outdoor stadium on the road, which we know is like no for Jared Goff, right? And then of course you got Fields on the other side, who's basically rushed against for 100 yards the last few times he's faced Detroit.
3 times, yeah.
Yep. So obviously I have Fields here over Goff. But if you're in a situation, let's talk Goff first. Are you feeling comfortable if you're in a win it or win to get in situation here in week 14?
Especially comfortable, no. I mean, I'd hope I have a better option, but if not, you could do a lot worse than Jared Goff. I mean, he's probably going to float around that like QB 15, 16, 17 type range is my guess this week. I don't think it's going to be a total bust. If you have other guys capable of a higher ceiling this week, it's still a decent floor for those teams. But yeah, if you need strong production from your quarterback, I would not be feeling especially comfortable.
Okay. So normally guys like Geno are going to be in that, range. But he's dealing with the groin, obviously going up against our Niners. I assume you have him, pretty far lower than Goff this week.
Yeah, no, Geno would probably be, low end QB2 in my mind this week.
Okay. Yeah. And that's about where I have him too. So what about guys like Josh Dobbs, Gardner Minshew, Baker Mayfield, even someone like Jake Browning? Would you have any of them ahead of
Browning? do have ahead of Goff this week. I think Browning is in a very good spot.
Okay.
Mayfield, no. Who else did you say?
Minshew, Dobbs.
I'd still play Goff over Minshew and Dobbs too, but Browning I would play over Goff.
Okay.
I'd play
There
Goff
you
over
go.
the rest. So, yeah.
Very cool. All right. So let's move down here to the running back position. This Bears backfield's a mess. Let's start there. So you got Roshan, who out of nowhere kind of looked like he became the lead back last week. Prior to that, of course, it had been Devonta Foreman while Herbert was out. Then he came back. Then he kind of got some work as the feature guy when Foreman went down. But then, like I said, then last week it was, when we all thought it was going to be Herbert, it was Roshan, and then they go into a bye. So what do you think they're doing coming out of bye here with this backfield?
I'm not even going to pretend like I have a real feed on that. It's just, and I think anybody that does is blowing smoke. For me, if I'd look to avoid this backfield completely, especially if this is you need to win to get into the playoffs here. I would I would be most comfortable still with Herbert despite the last game.
Okay.
But I wouldn't feel good about it. I mean,
Yeah.
I would.
It's a mess.
Avoid as much as possible. I wouldn't. Yeah, stay away.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, you got like Chuba Hubbard in some of those leagues that you're dealing with those guys and throw Chuba in there.
Frankly, if you've been relying on the Chicago backfield for anything significant, you're not in position to make the playoffs at this point anyway. So I don't think that's a big worry for many competitive teams right now.
Right, or your team's just so good, in other places that it doesn't even matter. You could just throw anybody in that RB2 position, right?
Also
like it'll
possible.
hero RB build, right? The epitome of. All right, so on the Lions side, you got what are they calling them? I forgot what their little nickname is. Like Slash and Dash or whatever.
I don't
Yeah, they have a nickname. It's like I'll have to look it up. Somebody in the chat, let us know. But we got Demont and Gibbs here. Absolutely. Demont and Gibbs here. I have them both as top 12 guys, basically. I think I have Gibbs at like 13 and Demont around 7 or 8 or so. I just think, the offense runs through these two guys.
Yeah, I mean, they're both weekly
what do you
starters. Think? So
right.
As far as exactly where I have them ranked this week,
Well, so let's go Kyren or Gibbs.
Let's put it this way. Gibbs.
Okay.
Yeah, Kyren and Baltimore and the weather. Nah, get out of here.
Okay. What about Etienne or Gibbs? You're still going Etienne? I know he's your guy.
Depends on if Lawrence plays, although I don't think he's going to, so Gibbs.
Okay. Derrick Henry?
Gibbs.
Okay. And what about like Austin Eckler, who I have kind of down as my RB11 this week?
A wash, essentially.
Okay. I have them back to back. I 11-12. Eckler just ahead.
Yeah, I'd say I'd probably barely go Eckler because I love the Denver matchup, and if he's going to get right, it's going to be this week. I'm going to be really worried about Eckler if it's not a good. That was intentional,
right? Yeah. No, I like that. I just pick up what you're throwing down.
If it doesn't happen this week, the panic mode will be fully set in on Eckler, unfortunately.
Yeah, like what do you do? We'll talk about it if you're still here for the. Are you able to stay like for the start sets now?
I won't be able to stay particularly long, no, still. But
all right, no worries. Just wanted to get an idea.
At least do one game here. That's why I wanted to do this.
Okay, for sure. So that
both borderline RB1s regardless. That's how I'm looking at it. They're both weekly. Yes, maybe with Monty. If you have Gibbs, you had to draft him high enough. Like you don't have two better running backs in all likelihood. Monty, maybe if you nailed those first two, which one of them probably got hurt. So I don't think anybody is having too much debate on if it's going to be over, or at least who rests these, over a Kyren or somebody like that. Some for sure, but probably not a lot.
Right. And Bears are they're 12th most points against RBs, but they've been playing a lot better lately.
The defense as a whole has really improved since Sweat has arrived. Even still, Lions at worst have the second best offensive line in football. They'll do their work. I'm really not concerned about that.
Yeah. So there we go. All right. So as far as the receivers here in this game, DJ Moore, pretty much the only startable guy on
Yes.
Chicago, and I like him. I mean, I even have him, I think, top 16, 17 this week. I have him kind of somewhere in there.
He's been stellar
mid
in
wide
almost
receiver
every
too.
game that started. I think he had one game with like 40 yards, but other than that, he's been tremendous.
Yeah, been pretty good. Yeah, I've stuck it out with them, and I haven't been too disappointed. I've had other people let me down a lot more. Yeah, I have him actually at 11. So yeah, I'm still
It's like
good
a
on him. I
40%
actually,
target share. He is the
Yeah.
Bears. Like it's,
exactly. He's the Bears passing or receiving threat. I have him actually ahead of Devontae Adams and Brandon Ayuk this week. DJ Moore. I'm at 11.
yeah.
And then Lions, Amon-Ra St. Brown, pretty much same kind of thing, just opposite side. Are we playing Josh Reynolds or any of these other Lions
Not
receivers?
in a game where I'm down on
Jameson
Goff
Williams.
that I'm not really looking to attack the other receiving options, at least wide receiver receiving options. No, really just
Right.
St. Brown.
Yeah, and then of course Sam Laporte is a must start.
Yeah, locked in. And
Absolutely.
I like Komet this
Komet.
week too.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, I think I heard a lot of people talking Komet up this week as
I
well.
think I have him like 8 this week, maybe 9. Depends on if Taysom Hill goes or not. I would have Taysom Hill a little bit above him.
Yeah, they're saying he's kind of trending towards not playing.
Yeah,
Hill,
that's
but-
a very disappointing development for this guy.
Ooh, this guy. Oh man. All right, so that should do it, man. So that's Lions Bears. I don't really have too much else on that one.
Well, the kickers,
So let's. Oh yeah, and defenses, right? So let's get into it, man. So like I've been telling the people, I've been waiting for our big announcement here for our guests to join us and to also do this 1,000 subscriber giveaway, which I'm glad you're here
didn't
for
do
as
the
well.
drawing yet. All right.
No, I haven't done
All
it yet.
right,
I figured
let's
I'd
go.
wait for
Yes.
you and get some
I love
people
it.
in here. Yeah, I don't want to do it by myself. You know, I'd rather have somebody here with me. So we're gonna do that right now. So for those of you guys who are been with us here for a while, I'm sure you guys know Tycoon, our friend from the fantasy boardroom. He was one of our first subscribers, part of our Dynasty league that we started here for the channel. And just longtime friends, starting to be personal friends with him now too. We've talked about it, and he's going to be joining the Get Right Fantasy Network, man. He's going to be another analyst here with us with Classic Mike and Frank and Dustin. And so now we got Tycoon joining us here. All right. Oh, we got a surprise going on. So in the meantime, and then we got Neanderthal saying Tycoon in the house. Whoop whoop. So yeah, man, we're super excited to have him be part of our Get Right family here, man. So we'll take a question here. We have Dustin back here saying Stroud or Mahomes this week. I'm definitely going Mahomes, man. I was kind of saying it earlier. Oh snap! Look at it. There it is. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Throwing the Get Right Fantasy Network shirt on. There it is. That's what's up, man.
Official, baby.
It's
This is
official.
like National Signing Day. You know what I mean?
There it is. There it
I didn't have a hat
is.
to pick from, so I had to throw on the shirt.
I know. I was gonna say, oh man, we should have chose the hat there. That would have been awesome, man. So yeah, so we got everybody in there saying woo woo. Everyone's excited, man, for you joining. Awesome. Neanderthal saying Tycoon in the house. So there it is, man. We're happy to have you. And yeah, so just so you guys know, he's going to be, and we'll get back to your question here, Dustin, I promise. Tycoon's going to be really kind of heading our Dynasty content. So obviously, as you guys know, we're more focused on redraft, doing our mocks in the off season, things like that. But we want Tycoon to come in and kind of head that Dynasty content for us. Of course, myself, Classic, Frank will jump on, with him as well. But he's going to really spearhead that for us. And so we're excited to kind of continue to grow and branch that part of our content out there. So a lot more stuff here for you in the off seasons, doing rookie mocks, things like that. So yeah, we're excited, to what Tycoon is going to bring here to Get Right, man. Super excited to have you.
Absolutely pumped, man. I'm so glad you guys had me. I know it's something we've kind of, it's not a topic, that's brand new, but it's never really been something that could happen. It has now. My previous affiliation, Rogue, is forced to disband, making me a free agent. So,
yes, sir.
Along with the
We
fantasy,
came a
boardroom,
signing.
which- absolutely, it didn't take long. And so
Didn't clear off waivers. I claimed you off waivers. I spent all my fab on you. Yeah.
So anybody that watches has been a part of my show, number one, thank you. But number two, it'll take a slightly different form next year. Thank you very much, Craig. Appreciate it, brother. Because the way it's currently formatted would be a little bit duplicative of what's currently being done really on the Friday show. A lot of start sit. So I'll still focus a fair amount of content on things like prop bets. I'm going to shift a little more towards Dynasty, which is something I enjoy a little more anyways. I'll still talk redraft. I mean, redraft's at the core of everything anyways,
Staple.
Including Dynasty. So that's never going to go away. But gonna tailor it a little more to try and add something new, like you said, to get right, kind of bring something else to the table as opposed to just more of the same. Try and
absolutely,
make this the win-win that we know it's going to be.
Absolutely, man.
So
and we're excited,
much,
man.
Brother. Thank you. Thank
very
Frank.
welcome. Thank
you.
you.
Thank Dustin. Thank Mike. The whole team welcoming me aboard truly means a lot. We have a lot of
absolutely.
We can get there in fantasy arguments sometimes, or even NFL arguments. But at the end of the day, it truly is all love, man. Love and respect to you.
For sure.
Truly thrilled to be a part of the family.
Absolutely, man. We're so thrilled to have you. And like you said, like from the minute we met you, we've been recruiting you. A little bit of tampering, not gonna lie, going on.
A little bit.
So we're happy. The hand was always there, the extension. So we're happy you're here with us, man. So you want to give away this 1,000 subscriber ring? What better way to bring you in and then just let's give this thing away, man.
Let's do it,
so let's do it.
Such a great milestone. Oh man,
absolutely, man.
The ultimate bandwagoner. You guys hit 1,000. I'm like, hey yo, I'm ready.
It's like I'm coming on now that you guys maybe someone watches you guys here. So we'll do it. All right, so let's bring it up here, man. I got this comment picker up here, as you guys can see. I hope you guys went and watched the video and left the comment in there, hashtag GRFN1000. So basically you do it now or forever hold your peace. So
there,
let's
sweet ring.
Make sure you get in there. We'll give you
ring, right?
Absolutely. So we'll bring that up here again too. Yeah, let's bring this thing up. So we're giving this thing away right now. It's happening right now from my boys over at trophysmack.com. This custom Get Right Fantasy ring with the logo, the 1,000 subscriber milestone ring that we will be giving away here. Again, if you guys want a ring like this for your league, make sure you go to trophysmack.com. When you check out, use that promo code Get Right.
I will tell you,
and that'll help support the channel, man.
They live up to it in person, guys. It's really cool. So I mean, make sure you're in it. This will be awesome to get if you win it.
Absolutely. So here we go, man. Let's get. I'm excited to see who gets this thing, man.
Me too.
So I think we had like 18 or 19 people that were on there last time I checked. So we're gonna filter out any duplicates. So just so you guys know, people can't just put it in multiple times.
Double, triple.
And then you and you had to put exactly hashtag GRFN1000 so it can select it. I don't think I really have anybody blacklisted yet. We're not that big yet.
We'll get there.
So we won't.
You'll get more haters. Don't worry.
I was gonna say they'll come. So let's do this, man. So I'm excited. I wish maybe next time we're gonna do like a race. I think for 2,000, it's a little more exciting watching it instead of just clicking the button and then it's gonna pop somebody up. But yeah, so maybe I should have just entered everyone in that. We'll do we should have done heats, and then it would have been cool. But either way, so I'm stalling on purpose. Let's give this thing away, man. Let's randomize it. So we're gonna go get a random comment in 3, 2, and 1. And the winner is no way. Neanderthal here live right now. Hopefully you are still watching, my guy. Let's go. Tell me if you're here, my guy. So hashtag GRFN 1000 from our boy Neanderthal. Congratulations, man. Reach out to me so we can get your info. We'll get this ring shipped over to you, man. So congratulations, brother.
Hell yeah.
Got everybody saying
Oh,
thanks
he's
in
here.
there. Oh, he's there.
Yes.
Whoop, whoop. So there you go. And he's part of our home league, Frank and I's home league. He's in our Got Left Out listener league. So he's a big time supporter here of the channel, man. He's always here on the live stream. So we can't thank you enough for the support, brother. Congratulations. And hopefully this ring will look nice to the ring you can win in our League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So
these kind of poses. Let's go, baby.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, so he's excited, man, saying hell yeah, congratulations. Everyone's saying congrats. So again, that's our 1,000 subscriber ring. That thing will be going to Neanderthal. Congratulations, my guy. And yeah, man, that was exciting. That was exciting. I love doing the giveaways. We got to do more stuff.
Somebody who's here all the time too, not like somebody who happened to drop in on the one show and throw it in and get it. So that's
right.
Beautiful.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So thanks, guys. That's awesome, man. We couldn't be happier for you, bro. So congratulations. He literally texts me, been texting me. We've been in the league for over 20 years together, man. So it's very cool that he won it. So the cool thing is I might actually see it one day when I go back up. Actually, here maybe pretty soon, I might actually see it in person. So that's kind of cool too. So make sure you hit me up, Neanderthal, and I will get you the information from you, and we'll get this thing shipped out to you as soon as we can. And then yeah, man. So everyone's still saying congrats. He's still in disbelief, man. So that's awesome. I can't stop smiling right now, man. That's so cool, man. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for us. We're gonna do more of these, man, as we continue to hit these milestones. Who knows, man? Maybe if we hit like 10K one day, we'll give away like a belt, something big and crazy for a big number like that. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
Levels. We'll find a way to do something bang up like
that.
For
sure. For sure. So keep it coming, guys. So again, congratulations, Neanderthal. And again, appreciate you, Tycoon, for being a part of that. That was real awesome. And again, welcome to Get Right, man. Absolutely. So you want to do another breakdown with me, or you gotta take off?
I sadly don't have time. I do have to jump off.
It's all good, man.
I apologize, but could not skip making the announcement here. Stoked to be here for
sure.
The drawing. Again, congrats, Neanderthal. Again, thank you, and to Frank, and to Dustin, and to Mike. Classic Mike.
For sure.
Boy. Just happy to be here, man, and can't wait to really be fully immersed in all things Get Right. And all of that will start with the very next episode of The Boardroom. So catch me Wednesday, guys.
Let's go.
We're gonna have playoffs to talk about. Good luck to everybody, too, in their, I guess, playoff eve matchups here. And
there you go.
If you need to win and get in, baby. I believe in you.
For sure.
We got time.
All right, Tycoon. For sure. All right, brother. Take care of yourself. Again, welcome. And we'll see you, man, on Wednesday. Peace out, brother. All right. So our boy's out of here. Appreciate it, man. So happy to have him part of the channel here. So we'll keep this thing rolling on. We're doing our start sit show here tonight. If you do have any kind of start sit questions, roster questions, anything going on, last minute trades, feel free to drop them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll continue on here through our games, let you know who I'm starting, who I'm sitting, and we'll go from there. So let's bring up the next game here, which is going to be the Colts, who are 7-5, going up against the Bengals, who are currently sitting at 6-6. You have originally an opening with Indy favored by 1, and then now it's swung to Cincinnati favored by 2. Was originally a 40.5 point over under, now sitting at a 44 point over under. So obviously we got the news that Jonathan Taylor still out, dealing with the thumb. They didn't put him on IR. They said maybe 2 to 3 weeks he could be back. This is why we like Zach Moss here this week going up against Cincinnati. I believe they are giving up the 13th most points against the running back position here in fantasy, and we've seen what Moss has been able to do in this backfield by himself. We've talked about Joe Mixon and kind of these two guys, a lot. I have them both as starts here this week, and as far as the receivers go, of course we're starting Chase. We are, T. Higgins back in the lineup. I think you can get him in there this week. Tyler Boyd dealing with an ankle injury. He may be out or, maybe not as involved there. And then on the Colts side, of course, you're starting Michael Pittman. And if you can get Josh Downs in there, I do like him, more so like a flex or wide receiver 3. And Minshew, if you're in a situation where you need to start him, I don't mind him as a start this week. And Jake Browning, like Tycoon was saying earlier, he has him as a start this week, ahead of guys like Goff and Dobbs and a few guys like that. So that's your Colts Bengals tight ends. Maybe you could start the Bengals tight end. What's his name? I forgot his name here off the top of my head. But I know he's been doing fairly good here lately. So again, if you're in just one of those, streaming tight end type situations, maybe you give him a shot. And Tanner Hudson. I have him as a low end tight end too, down here behind guys like Juwan Johnson. I had Henry ahead of him, Brevin Jordan, Conklin Goddard, guys like that. And then the Colts. Yeah, I'm not starting any Colts tight end. All right, so that should wrap up our Colts and Bengals. Let's see here. And we have a question here in the chat. We got Drunk Squidward in the house. What's up, Squidward? He says, would you start Brandon Cooks or Gus Edwards? And I assume full PPR here. So Brandon Cooks or Gus Edwards. I'd probably roll with Cooks. I mean, the Rams. Yeah, Rams are like the 5th best against the running back position right now. They're not giving up a lot of points to the running back position, but we know, Baltimore is going to run, but it could be a split there with Mitchell. He's been kind of making run there. Brandon Cooks has been playing good lately. It's probably going to be a shootout there in Dallas. Don't have to worry about any elements. They're there in the dome. So I take my chances here with Brandon Cooks. And Craig said Hudson. Yep, you were right. I eventually got to it, but I just got to look to the chat. You guys got my back. And then Craig saying Cooks as well over Gus. So there we go. All right, so let's get to the next game here, which is going to be. That's why I got to get a production guy in here, but no, we got it. So we got Jags coming in 8-4 at the Browns, who are 7-5. We have the big news here with Trevor Lawrence, Cleveland's coming in at 2.5-point favorites, only a 33-point over/under in this one. The big news, like I was saying, Jags quarterback Trevor Lawrence dealing with that high ankle sprain. He's officially been listed as questionable. He's been limited all week in practice, was out there actually Wednesday, interestingly enough, maybe to kind of keep it loose. You saw the practice videos, I'm sure. They're saying he's going to be a game time decision. Hasn't been ruled out, which is crazy. The fact that he could potentially play. So maybe they see, how it goes, and who knows? Maybe he, tries to push off or do something, and isn't able to finish the game. So you do have to understand that is a chance you have to be willing to take if they even say he's active. We all saw what happened, and I don't care who you are, that's going to be sore. But again, we saw, Mahomes play with it, through the Super Bowl and stuff. So. It's not like it's impossible, but he was, definitely limited in his mobility. On the other side of things, if he can't go, it's going to be CJ Beathard from our 49ers. Used to be there. He was dealing with the shoulder injury, came in, got hit real good. He's technically off the injury report now, though, and will be available if Lawrence can't go. We all know Christian Kirk, unfortunately, was placed on IR dealing with that groin injury, core muscle. He's going to have surgery on it. Say he's going to be out at least like 6 to 8 weeks. So he's basically done here for the fantasy season. Stephen, and we talked about it kind of earlier. Kevin Stefanski, as far as the Cleveland quarterback situation, says he's not going to name a starter. So we'll have to wait right up until game time for that. You have Amari Cooper hasn't been ruled out. He's been dealing with the concussion. He's listed as questionable. They haven't said whether he's cleared the concussion protocol yet, or I don't think he's cleared it yet. But he has been, I believe, practicing limited here today. So we'll see what ends up happening with Amari Cooper. So again, it's going to be Joe Flacco or DTR, who was cleared out of the concussion protocol after being out, 2 weeks. So we'll see what happens with him and who they decide to start. I like Amari Cooper a little more, maybe if Flacco's there. But who knows? And yeah, it's just a tough situation there. Trevor Lawrence, again, I'm trying to stay away if I can. Just because, again, he may not, finish the games, and hopefully you have some better options out there. Might be a little trickier in Superflex or 2 QB leagues. So it'll just kind of depend on what you have going on there. And then as far as the wide receivers go, I do like Zay Jones if he is good to go, which I believe he should be. I don't think he had any designation coming in. And hopefully Ridley, without Kirk here, could be decent, even with if it's CJ Beathard. But again, downgrade them, of course, if really just overall, I think you have to downgrade all of the wide receiver passing positions. But I could see how, you don't want to, you may not be able to get away from Ridley, depending on who your other options are. As far as tight ends go, again, same thing. You're downgrading Evan Ingram there on that side. And then Njoku, I like him more with DTR versus Flacco. I'd have him sit if Flacco is playing, and I'd probably start him if DTR is playing. So that should wrap up Jags Browns. Let's see here. Craig saying he wants it to be Flacco just for the pass catchers. So yeah, so the pass catchers except for Njoku though. I don't think he will do well with Njoku. So we'll see how it goes. The voice might be going, guys. I'm hitting that hour mark here. Still not 100%. As I'm sure you guys can tell here by my voice, but we'll keep powering through it here. Got that jolt of excitement when Neanderthal won the ring, so that'll power me through the end here. All right, so let's talk about this one. It should be pretty quick here. Panthers coming in 1-11 at the Saints, who are sitting at 5-7. We have the Saints favored by 6 with the 38.5 point over under. You have Saints quarterback Derek Carr clearing the concussion protocol. They say he remains questionable on the injury report, but the reports are that he will start this week. But remember, he is dealing with that concussion, which is like his second or third time he's been in the protocol this year, and then dealing with the ribs and that right shoulder again. And we all saw him walking off super gingerly with them, barely holding his arm, and then all of a sudden, he's starting again. Obviously, had the bye week to get a little better, so we'll see what happens here with Carr. You have the bigger question mark, Taysom Hill, dealing with foot and left hand injuries. He's listed as questionable and hasn't practiced all week. So there's a good chance he may not play here this week. But Chris Olave, who did miss practice yesterday, was back today. They fully expect Chris Olave to play. He's been dealing with the flu. He's just been sick. So he should be good to go by Sunday. So Panthers don't really give up much to wide receivers, unfortunately, because they just give it all up on the ground. I have Kamara as probably like the start of the week this week. The only person I'm starting over Kamara would be Christian McCaffrey, but I love Kamara this week. I'm okay starting Chuba Hubbard with this new regime ever since Frank Reich was fired. They have the new regime in here, giving, I believe, 20 plus touches to Chuba last week. And I think they'll do the same here if they can keep the game close. Their defense is playing a little bit better. And you never know the way, the Saints are, have their stalls in the red zone and, things like that. Maybe their offense stalls out a couple times, and maybe the Panthers can get them. But Saints should be able to come in and handle their business. So I like Chuba this week. I like Kamara. Definitely sitting Bryce Young. I have Cars like a low end QB2. I try to stay away from him if you can. Jawan Johnson might be a sneaky play if Taysom is out, being the only tight end there. But also, again, why I like Kamara if Taysom's out, because he won't get any of those vulture touchdowns. So A.T. Perry, long shot, type play again. Panthers, you shouldn't really have to throw too much on them. I really only like Olave on that side. As far as the Panthers side, Thielen hasn't really been doing good with this new coaching regime, so I kind of have him as a sit. Jonathan Mingo, I believe, coming off a 10-target game. So maybe you throw him in as a second flex type option. I like him a little more than Thielen, just based on what we saw last week. So there we go. Not starting any tight ends here for the Panthers. You got Hayden Hurst dealing with that severe concussion, or something kind of crazy went wrong with his vision and things like that. So hopefully he gets better here soon. So that'll wrap up Panthers Saints, and we'll continue to move on here. So our next game will be Texans, who are 7-5, coming in to the Jets at 4-8. You have Houston favored by 3.5 and a 33-point over/under. Obviously, the big news here is the whole situation with Zach Wilson apparently not wanting to play. Apparently, when they're trying to come back to them, they cut Tim Boyle. Just it's a craziness going on. You got Aaron Rodgers back in practice. Like, who knows what's going on at this quarterback position here with the Jets. CJ Stroud just going up against a tough defense, but he should be decent. It is going to be on the road, a little bit of weather going on, so we'll see how he does there. But should be okay, man. CJ Stroud seems to be like that guy. I do like him with Nico Collins this week. Of course, he'll probably be facing Sauce Gardner. So it should be a good showdown, but he's a big body receiver, Nico, and they do some good things to scheme him open. You have Noah Brown listed as questionable with no Tank Dell, who of course went on IR with a fractured fibula. So just keep that in mind. Then of course you still have Robert Woods that might be involved with things as well too. But I'm okay with like a second flex for Noah Brown this week, especially with Dalton Schultz being ruled out. There could be some extra targets to go around, and if Nico does get covered, maybe that opens up things for Brown. On the Jet side of the ball, or at the running back position, you have Breece Hall questionable with an ankle injury, so we'll see what happens there. Reports were originally Cook was going to get the start, but then Hall started going on the positive side of questionable, so I've seen kind of the momentum on Cook slow down just a bit there. I think he would be a decent start if Breece Hall were to sit, but Hall should hopefully have a good game here as long as he can push off on that ankle. So we'll see what happens. I do have him as a start this week. I just have him move down a bit. Ooh, we'll see if we can make it here. We'll see if we can make it. The voice is going away. All right. So who else do we have here? Did we not talk about Schultz is out on that side? Tyler Conklin might be a sneaky little play. He's kind of been decent with Zach Wilson at the helm. The Jets they give up the 11th most points to the tight end position. And then Houston gives up where are they at? Yeah, the 6th most points to the tight end. So Conklin could have a decent day. So yeah, keep him in mind. So I think that pretty much wraps up Texans Jets. So we'll move on there. If I miss anything, just let me know. Otherwise, we'll continue on because I probably got to get out of here. I don't know how much longer my voice will hold out here, but we'll hang in here for you guys. All right, so let's do it. Next game is going to be the 6-6 Vikings going on the road to face the Las Vegas Raiders, who are coming in 5-7. You have Minnesota favored by 3 with a 40.5-point over/under. Big news here is the Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson is finally off the injury report, and he will play Sunday. It's going to be his first game back since injuring his hamstring, suffered in the Week 5 matchup against Kansas City. He's been gone a long time. So we're welcoming back to our lineups. At least it's here in Week 14, where we get to at least see the connection between him and Dobbs. We'll see how it works out. I'll definitely have my eyes on this game here. So we'll see what happens, how they utilize him, his connection with Dobbs, and to see if he can take us home here in our fantasy playoffs for those of us who either traded for him or held him in our IR spot this whole time or burned that roster spot this entire time. Hopefully we'll get paid out now for waiting. So definitely starting Jefferson after all that. I think that bumps Jordan Addison down just a bit, but I still think he could have a big game here against this Raiders defense, especially if they're rolling a lot of coverage towards Justin Jefferson. Addison should hopefully be able to eat. It was good the experience that he got without Jefferson on the field. You'd have to just imagine with the attention that Jefferson's going to take with the experience that Addison and the confidence that he has now. They could be dangerous to a duo here heading into the fantasy playoffs. As far as the quarterbacks, or we'll stick with the receivers. I'm starting Devontae Adams. I do have a couple guys ahead of him that I was mentioning earlier, but I like DJ Moore. I think I have ahead of Adams this week, but I still have Adams as a wide receiver 1, as my wide receiver 11, I believe. And let me just double check that. Don't want to be telling you guys different stories. I mean, it is all subject to change. But 12. So he's my wide receiver 12. Right now, Devontae Adams is. Jacoby Myers I have down a little lower. I could really see this game getting into a shootout. Maybe Aiden O'Connell, will come through. But yeah, who would have thought Vikings Raiders would have, Week 14 would have been Josh Dobbs and Aiden O'Connell battling it out. So, I guess we can kind of say that all with a grain of salt, so to speak, or not worry as much of what's going to go on there. But yeah, I think there could be opportunities there for some good games here in the passing game. Don't really like what Madison's been doing lately, but I could see if you needed to start him here against the Raiders, you could. Ty Chandler has been looking, pretty decent as well. But I'm not quite there. I have him as a sit. Josh Jacobs I have as a start, but this Vikings defense has been, a little tough. So, I do have a few guys ahead of him. Where do I have Jacobs this week? So, yeah, I actually have him as 5 right now. I may have to move him down just a bit. But again, he's the only guy there. He should get the work. And yeah, the Vikings are the 4th best against the run. So I probably do need to adjust Josh Jacobs down just a bit. And he's not getting quite as much work in the passing game. So yeah, he might actually fall outside my top 12 when I really start to dial it in here. As far as tight ends go here, you're starting TJ Hawkinson and sitting Meyer or Hooper here on the Raiders side. And then, yeah, the quarterbacks I mentioned earlier, but just officially on them, I have O'Connell as a sit, and Dobbs is kind of right in that, 12 to 15 type range. Interesting with Justin Jefferson back, could make for a big game. So there we go. Again, you got any questions, any comments that you want to drop it in the chat, and I'll get to it. We have Tingley in the house. What's up, man? How's it going? He says, hey, yo, do I start Moss or ETN in full PPR? Interestingly enough, I have Moss ahead this week in my ranking, but if I was actually looking at it, man, I would be sick to my stomach. There's no way I could probably actually start Moss over ETN, but I do have ETN right now just because he is a little banged up dealing with the chest. I'm not too worried about that, but then you have the downside with Trevor Lawrence not playing, going up against this Cleveland defense in Cleveland. So yeah, man, I might just roll with Moss there in Cincinnati, going up against that rushing defense, which is kind of taking a hit there. Again, getting all that work. It's so hard to sit ETN, man. It's so hard. But yeah, it's right there, man. It's a really good question. But man, that's really a tough call there. So whoever's in the chat, let me know, man. Who do you guys got here? Moss or ETN? I wish Tycoon was here. Still, I could ask him. But yeah, man, I think I'd have to go to ETN, especially if I was like a winner go home situation, man. I'd be sick to my stomach if I lost playing Moss. Like if I played ETN and he just didn't have a good game, all things considered, like, hey, I guess so. But if I were to lose because of Moss and then ETN gets 2 touchdowns, like, or even just 80 and a touchdown and 4 for 40, it's hard to deal with that. But yeah, it's all good, man. My brain tells me Moss, man, but my heart tells me ETN. So I don't know if that helps you, but that's how I'm going to answer it, my guy. So he also says, also looking into rostering another defense to play matchups. He has Miami. Who should I cut from his bench? He has Lawrence because he has Fields, Lockett, Flowers, Pacheco, and Noah Brown. If you had to cut one of those guys, I mean, possibly Lockett. Like, he hasn't been doing that great, and as much as it hurts me to say, like, because I think I would probably start Flowers over him in a couple, situations, and then Noah Brown getting those 2 matchups against Tennessee in the playoffs without Tank Dell there. I think he might have a little more upside than Lockett. Lockett just has a tough schedule and hasn't really been doing that great. And yeah, so he gets San Francisco this week, then Philly next week, Tennessee, Pittsburgh in the final. I mean, yeah, I just don't think Lockett would see your lineup. I mean, the correct question is probably Noah Brown, but we've seen what happens when he goes off. He's scoring 20 points. So yeah. So there you go. So hopefully that helps you. If not, I apologize. I mean, you could always just cut Lawrence if you want, but Fields could get hurt anytime. I'd like to just hold on to Lawrence and Fields and just kind of see how he does at least one more week. So yeah, I'd cut Lockett. I don't think anybody would be crazy trying to pick him up this week unless he goes off against San Francisco, but that's probably not going to happen. All right. So we got Jelly of the Month. How's it going? It says has a bye. Congratulations. Looking for a defense for 16 and 17. Do you grab the Colts or grab the Colts? They play the Falcons and then the Raiders. So those are good matchups. Like, Falcons usually aren't putting too many points against people. Ritter is prone for making turnovers, things like that. I've personally grabbed the Colts because of this matchup here. I think I'm holding the Colts and Cleveland, and I'm trying to decide out of those two. And I also have the option against Houston, which Cleveland's falling further and further out of favor for me there. And then another situation, I have actually the Colts and the Eagles defense. Someone ended up dropping them, and I picked them up because they get the Giants and the Cardinals week 16 and 17. So I like it, man. I like that play. Falcons, Raiders. You're definitely playing bottom tier, quarterbacks, and Bijan's like the best player that defense is going to see. And then, of course, Devontae Adams, if you guys can contain him. But, yeah, their defense has been playing, pretty good. And I think they got me like 17 points this last week. So, yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Craig saying, great show. Hope so. The voice is starting to leave here, but we're holding it out. He said he's sorry he forgot to add the defense he was thinking about adding. Who would you pick up out of the Colts, Packers, or the Rams? So we have Green Bay, they get Tampa Bay, Carolina, Minnesota, and then the Rams. They are. The Rams get the Commanders, the Saints, and the Giants. Commanders, Saints, Giants, or Tampa Bay, Carolina, Minnesota. If I had to pick between the two, I'd say probably the Rams. Oh yeah, and you got the bye, so you're only going Saints, Giants, or would you stick with the Colts and go Tampa Bay, Carolina? Can you keep the Colts and the Rams and play the Colts? Yeah, maybe play the Colts against Atlanta, then play the Rams against the Giants. Like, I'd want to make sure you got the Rams to play the Giants week 17 for sure. And then it's just a toss-up if you have somebody else you feel comfortable dropping, or you feel okay playing the Rams defense against New Orleans. Or if you can hold Houston, they would go against Cleveland, or Indiana, they'd go against Atlanta. Yeah, that's tough. So yeah, so the Rams, because of that week 17 matchup, is who I'd prefer there. But if you wanted to hold the Colts to play against the Falcons first and then drop them and then have the Rams for week 17, that's probably what I'd do. Or just roll the dice with the Rams defense there. Those are good matchups. All right. So Jelly's saying, thanks. Hold Christian Watson. He may be out, or drop to stash Roshan. So Christian Robinson or Roshan. Before Watson kind of had that big little kind of minor big game, he was sitting on the waiver wire for like 2 weeks in a lot of my leagues, and no one really touched him. He had the big week, of course. Then he was kind of a little hot ad, and then got hurt right away on target. I'd personally probably rather stash the running back and kind of see what happens, but relying on a running back in the Chicago backfield is kind of crazy. I think Watson definitely has the higher upside. The running back position's a little, scarcer. But just kind of depends on who else you kind of have. If if you need a backup running back more than you need, wide receiver, just figure out, in order for one of these to get in, like, what needs to go wrong, for these guys to, have to be in your starting lineup. And if that situation happened, which one are you feeling more comfortable starting? I would say Watson's role, as long as he's healthy, we know what it's going to be. Over the question marks you can get with Roshan, even if he's healthy, he may just not even be fantasy relevant. So I think I'm leaning a little more towards just holding Watson if you can. But again, if you need that running back because they're just kind of so scarce and get hurt so often, maybe go Roshan because you can find a similar player to Watson off the wire, a Zay Jones or, someone like that any given week. So now that I talked myself into it, I'll probably take my chance with Roshan and see what that split might be this week, especially with Watson hurt. You may not even have to put a fab bin in or a claim. He may go unclaimed because you're going to have to wait for Wednesday to see if he starts practicing again, if he's rolled out this week. So yeah. So good luck on that. Again, you guys got any more questions? Feel free to drop them in there. Otherwise, I will continue on here with the game-by-game breakdowns, telling you who we're starting, who we're sitting. But like I said, if you have your specific questions, drop them in the chat. So we'll get on to the next game here, the one I will be watching very closely. You have the 6-6 Seahawks coming back to play the Niners. Well, not back, but they're coming back to our house this time after we feasted for Thanksgiving on their field. Coming in at 9-3 right now. One of the hottest teams in the league. Got my Niners coming in favored originally by 10.5. Now it's up to 13, probably because of Geno's groin injury, and who knows if the running backs are going to play or not there for Seattle, which we'll get into here in a second. 46.5 point over under, the implied total there. As far as Geno Smith goes, when Pete Carroll was asked, he said, "We'll see." We rested him today, and they're listing him questionable with that groin injury that he sustained in practice this week. As far as the running backs go, you have Charbonnet and Walker, both looking good in practice today. They're going to be considered game time decisions. On the Niners side of the ball, you have running back Elijah Mitchell. He is doubtful, dealing with some knee soreness, so he will not be out there against the Seahawks here this week. As far as start sit goes, with these quarterbacks, I have Geno kind of closer to a sit this week, going up against the Niners defense. They were unable to score an offensive touchdown. They did bounce back and look a lot better against Dallas last week, but going up against this defense and the role we're on, obviously I'm a little biased with the hat I have on. If you can stay away from Geno this week, I would. But they do play us tough. It is a division game. That last game could be a fluke, and they could really give us a game here this week. But we'll see. We know they have the weapons: Tyler Lockett, JSN, DK Metcalf. Niners are vulnerable through the air if our pass rush can't get there, so it all just depends on how we do with those front seven and if we can hold on the back end. So I do like Purdy this week. Have him as a top 10 quarterback. Of course, we're starting Christian McCaffrey. No question there. We're starting Debo. We're starting Ayuk. You're probably starting DK. I have him kind of as a mid wide receiver 2. Lockett, I have a little lower than that, more like a mid wide receiver 3. JSN, I have like as a low end wide receiver 3, maybe high end 4, if you want to kind of have them in that range. And tight ends here, you're starting George Kittle. Noah Fant could be a sneaky, little play, but usually Fred Warner's not having any of that when it comes to those tight ends. So have Noah Fant as the sit this week. So yeah, that should wrap up Seahawks and Niners. Again, if you guys have any questions, you can drop them in the chat. You have Jelly of the Month saying, last one. It doesn't have to be, man. Keep them coming. He says, was playing Hal after he lost Burrow. His playoff matchups are brutal. Do you like Jordan Love over Sam Howell for the playoffs? Thanks and have a good weekend. So good luck to you, Jelly of the Month. Appreciate you coming out. And as far as your question goes here, let me bring up my quarterbacks here and their schedules. So like you said, at Rams, at Jets, home against San Francisco for Sam Howell. So that's going to be pretty tough. Like you said, let's see what Jordan Love is dealing with in the playoffs. You get Tampa Bay, Carolina, at Minnesota. I think I'd probably take my chances with Love with that playoff situation. I mean, you could still hold on to Sam Howell in case something were to happen to Love, or for some reason if Love looks terrible here against the Giants in Week 14. But the matchups against Tampa Bay, Carolina, again, you can kind of run on them a lot. But they don't really have much of a run game. I think they are trying to pass it out and see what they have in him. If they need to invest in another option. So I think they put the ball in his hand and see, what he can do against Carolina. And then it should be a shootout in Minnesota Week 17. Him and Dobbs. So yeah, I'd take my chances maybe with Love. With the way he's been playing lately, just hope he doesn't, turn into that pumpkin that he turned into kind of in the middle of the season. Started off hot, took a little dip, and then, he's starting to come out of it and play better again. So you just got to hope that continues on. And yeah, man, Sam Howell, he's been doing great on the bye week this week, but yeah, he may be done. He should have a decent game against the Rams, but yeah, at Jets and home against the Niners, yeah, you don't want any of that. You don't want any of that. So yeah, so keep them coming. Appreciate the support, man. Keep coming out here to the streams, and we'll keep answering your questions. And good luck. And we'll see how it goes, man. Last week of our fantasy season already, man. I can't believe it's already over in some leagues. So tough to deal with when you start thinking about it, man. All right, so we got Freshwater in here saying, what wide receiver could I go for if I traded CJ Stroud? I was offered Etienne and Sutton, but I want to see what other receivers he could go for. So yeah, I mean, if you're trading away someone like Stroud, I mean, I would start, extremely high, you know, in that CD range. I wouldn't fall for any like of the Cooper Cups. Don't like I wouldn't do it for Cooper Cup. Maybe for someone like Adams in another piece. Um, maybe you can buy low on Diggs here. He's been coming off some bad games. He'd be someone I'd look at. Who else we got? I doubt the Amon-Ra St. Brown owner would give him up. Let's see. Who else could you get there? Doubt Mike Evans you could, get. But yeah, I mean, I'd be trying for those type of guys. AJ Brown, maybe Keenan Allen. I'd start out high like that. Mike Evans, Steph Diggs. Like I really like, Steph Diggs. If you could potentially get him, but especially before this potential shootout with the Chiefs here. So yeah, I would try for folks like that. But yeah, Sutton and Etienne's not too bad. But yeah, if you're mainly looking for the wide receiver upgrade, there's no point in taking that. So good luck to you there. Let me know how it goes, Freshwater. Let me know if you get any offers or start negotiating anything. I'd love to hear it. We got Perry in the house. What's up, Perry? How's it going? Perry saying start Garrett Wilson or Drake London. Garrett going up against Stingley, Mr. Stingley Jr. So yeah, it's I had when we did our Atlanta breakdown, I had him as a start against the Bucks. If you don't trust that Wilson to Wilson connection, which they did pretty good, I mean, they did have a pretty good connection. He was putting up points. They did play some good defenses, during that time. Were they as good as Stingley? Maybe not, but at least they've shown that chemistry there. Ritter and London have barely done it. I can't really with London. I mean, I have him on a dynasty league that I kind of, putting him out there with, but for the most part, I've pretty much kind of avoided him in my games in my redraft leagues this year. So yeah, I mean, he's sitting at about wide receiver 30 or so right now for this week. So yeah, man, I'd probably take my chances with Garrett Wilson in a potential shootout against Houston. You just got to hope the weather's, okay. If the weather's not okay, maybe you just go with London. At least it'll be in a dome. You don't have to worry about it. So good luck to you, man. Good luck. I know I kind of gave you the runaround on that. But yeah, for me, I personally go Wilson over London. But I could see, again, there's some certain situations where I could see you'd want to go the other way. But for me, I'm going Wilson. I could be wrong, but I'm going Wilson. All right. So let's get into this next game here, which is kind of just talking about it. Let me get the banner up here. All right, let's do it. Next game we're going to talk about are the 6-6 Bills traveling to Arrowhead to face the 8-4 Chiefs. Chiefs coming off their bye week. Haven't really looked good. Beginning of the year looked like they were kind of just practicing on people playing with their food. Had a couple bad losses in there. Mahomes not coming off a great game, and we'll see what happens. I mean, Kansas City started as 2.5-point favorites. Now they're sitting at 1-point favorites, a 48.5-point over under. On the Bills side of the ball, you have Dawson Knox potentially coming back this week. He's been listed as questionable, practicing on a limited basis, dealing with that wrist surgery that he had. They have technically not activated him yet, so as of now, Kincaid should be the guy, but that could again happen sometime tomorrow. On the Chiefs side of the ball, big news there is running back Isaiah Pacheco has been ruled out. They're even considering IR for him. When Andy Reid was asked, he just said, we'll see about him going on IR. So just something to keep a close eye on. He's dealing with a shoulder issue, which was the same shoulder that he was dealing with last year. So some, kind of concerning, about that. And again, you hate to hear them, you like when they just say, "Oh, no, 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 he's not going on IR." It's tough to have him just say, "We'll see," but it could just be kind of coach speak. So with that said, running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire will start at running back on Sunday. Reed said we've got different personnel groups, but yes, CH is the number one guy. Yes, he said. Who knows what that means? Again, could be coach speak, but I think it's a big Mahomes week this week. I'm sure they'll try to establish the run, but I could see him just getting 11 carries for 45 yards, and that's it. Maybe a catch or two, but nothing crazy. You have Jerick McKinnon dealing with that groin injury. He's been limited this week. He may play after being out last week. So again, just a lot of stuff going on in this backfield. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, it's just a big Kelsey and Mahomes game. So we're starting Mahomes. We're starting Allen. No question there. James Cook, I like here against the Chiefs, even though Chiefs have this tough defense. The way he's been used, lately. I think he has a good opportunity for, again, expecting a shootout in this game, 48.5 points. You kind of want to get most of the pieces involved. I like Kincaid if there's no Knox. I like Shakir if there's no Knox. If Knox does play, I think that could hurt Shakir a little bit. So I'd have him as a sit. Right now, without Knox, I'd have him, as a low end flex option or a second flex, type guy, wide receiver like 4 or 5. And then for your main receivers here, Rashee Rice, you heard me earlier. I like to get him in there if I can in this shootout. He's shown the most rapport and building some rapport here with Mahomes. So hopefully they continue to work on that throughout the bye. And he has a big second half here, and potentially could be a league winner here in fantasy. Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, all these other guys. I have them as sits. Kelsey, of course, is a start, and Gabe Davis. What do we do with Gabe Davis? You got to just start him if you need some boom, but he could get you 0 and just block and get a game ball, or he could go for 120 and 2 or 3 touchdowns. So all just depends there with Gabe Davis. If you need him, throw him in there. You have to be willing to take the goose egg if it's not one of his nights. But I think he's the one who scored 3 touchdowns against the Chiefs in that AFC Championship game. So maybe you want to get him in there. So I think that's it. So that should wrap up Bills Chiefs. Should be a good game. Excited to see that one. We have some good games coming up here this week. The next game that we're going to talk about here are going to be the Broncos, who are 6-6, headed to Los Angeles to face the Chargers, who are sitting at 5-7. Divisional game. It could be big for these guys. Their playoff hopes. They're kind of both in must-win type situations. I think the loser may kind of be out of the playoff running, and the winner may have a chance to, get in that wild card position here. So it should be a good one. You have the Chargers coming in originally favored by 3, but sitting at them favored by 2.5. 44.5 point over/under. Broncos have listed Samaje Perine dealing with a knee injury. He's questionable. But he was a full participant Wednesday and Thursday, and then he was held out of practice here on Friday. So that's a little concerning. You'd rather have it the other way. But, we'll have to tune in on Sunday with Classic Mike to see if he will be active or not. Could make for a big Javonte Williams game. If so, against these Chargers, they have been giving up the 14th most points to the running back position. So Javonte could have a good game there. And let's see, quarterbacks, Russ Wilson, I kind of have him as a start. Herbert, I have him right at that borderline. The last of the, good quarterbacks that are there that are kind of no question. At that 9, 10, 11 kind of position. And then you have Russell Wilson. Been putting up decent numbers. I just, not trying to rely on him if I don't have to. Who else we got here? Keenan Allen's a must start. Cortland Sutton, I think you have to start at this point. Quentin Johnston I have as a sit. He had a decent game last week. I want to continue to see him build on that. I don't know if he's going to be quite ready to throw in your playoff lineups this year, but hopefully a nice piece for Dynasty or moving into next year. Sucks to miss on that one. You have Josh Palmer still out dealing with that knee sprain. So maybe Jalen Guyton could have a game here, but I have him as a sit. And again, this Broncos defense has been pretty stingy lately. They were on that big 5-game winning streak. They did lose last week, so I'm sure they're looking to bounce back here against these Chargers who just seem to find ways to lose games. So that should wrap up your Broncos. Oh yeah. If you need to start a tight end here, Gerald Everett, he's kind of the take a penny, leap a penny guy on your waiver wire. So if you need to get him in there, he has a good chance at a touchdown. And I'm not starting any Broncos tight end. All right. So we will move on now to the Sunday night football game, which should be a good one. There's like at least 3 or 4 standalone games that I'm probably going to watch by themselves. Of course, my Niners Seahawks game. I'm going to watch that Bills Chiefs game, and then you get Eagles Cowboys, of course, as a primetime game. But yeah, that's going to be a nice game. So let's talk about it. You got the Eagles coming to face the Cowboys sitting at 10-2. Cowboys are sitting at 9-3. You have Dallas favored here at home by 3.5. 51-point over under. You have Dallas Goedert looking like he's going to be back fairly quickly after having that broken forearm, and so he's off the injury report now, saying he is going to return here to play against Dallas. On the Dallas side of the ball, they're fairly healthy. They just had actually their head coach, Mike McCarthy, said he's feeling great and anticipates being on the sideline Sunday night. He was back in the facility today, just 2 days after having an emergency appendectomy. There we go. They took out his appendix. They removed it. So glad he's okay, and good to see him, up and at it just 2 days later. And hopefully he'll be there for that big game Sunday night. As far as fantasy goes, with a 51.5-point over-under, you're pretty much starting as many pieces of this game you can get. You're going to start the Eagles, or you're going to start the quarterbacks. On the Eagles side, you got Jalen Hurts, you got Dak Prescott. So that's no questions there. Tony Pollard, you're probably in a must-start, type situation. Again, going up against the stingy Eagles defense, I do have him kind of, down a little bit this week, but not out of the, not starting type range. But I would start, like Zach Moss over Tony Pollard this week. And Swift is kind of questionable dealing with that head injury. Got hit, got rocked in the Niners game. And hope he's okay, though, of course. But, just something to keep an eye on. We'll see if he ends up getting, some touches there. But, I may have a couple situations where I pretty much have to start him. But if you do have better options, Kyron Williams, Zach Moss, guys like that, I would feel more comfortable playing them over Swift here this week. As far as the wide receivers go, we're starting all them. Like Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, like CeeDee Lamb, like Brandon Cooks. They should have, big games. Again, 51.5-point over under. I do like Ferguson. He should sneak in for a touchdown as well. And who knows, maybe Goddard coming back, they find a way to get him in the end zone as well, too. Just again, the only problem with him before he got hurt was the fact that brotherly shove, he's not getting those goal line, tight end pops, play action and hitting them. It's all just being rushed in. So if he's going to score, it's going to probably be, outside the 5 or the 10 even. So, which he was on his way doing before he broke his arm, unfortunately. So that's Eagles Cowboys. So we'll wrap that up here. And interestingly enough, we do have 2 games on Monday Night Football this week. So that's going to be very interesting. But let's get to it. So they actually play at the same time, which is super annoying because you kind of have to go back and forth or just pick one of the games. But one of them is going to be the 4-8 Titans visiting the Dolphins, who are sitting at 9-3. You have the Dolphins coming in similarly to the Niners as 13-point favorites here, 46.5-point over under. You have Will Levis versus Tua. We're of course starting Tua. We're sitting Levis in this situation. Unless you're, of course, in 2QB super flex type leagues where you might be in a situation where you need to start Levis. As far as the running backs go, you got Raheem Mostert kind of banged up here. So just something to kind of keep your eye on. I do like Devon Achane this week. I have him as a top 4 back this week. Only a couple other guys I'd like to start ahead of him. I did kind of have him as a sit last week after, trying to play the previous week and then having to leave early because that knee wasn't quite ready. I just wanted to see him, come in, get the work, finish the game strong and healthy. And then I'd have no problem throwing him back in the lineup. And especially if Mostert's a little banged up, he could potentially have a big game. I believe the Titans are going to be without Justin Simmons. So although they're kind of usually more pass funnel defense going up against the Titans, which should, give up, I'm sure, a lot of points to Tyreek Hill. But if they jump out to a good lead, I'm sure they'll salt the game away with Achane. So I do like him. Most I do still have as a low end start if he does end up starting and playing. Again, I think they'll get enough work to both be viable. And obviously, we're starting Hill. Waddle hasn't been great with Achane in the lineup, but I can't get away from him. So I have Waddle as a start this week. Could be to my own detriment, but you want a piece of this offense. So if Waddle was your piece, then you want to take that shot, especially in full PPR. He could get a lot of underneath targets as Hill's taking the top off the defense. If they decide to cover him any week, they could just say he's not putting 100 yards against us and just put 2-3 guys on him. And in that case, Waddle can have one of those patented 11 catch games and do you very well in a PPR. Tight ends for the Dolphins, we're not starting any of those guys. And then on the Titan side, we're starting Derrick Henry. I think the matchup's okay unless they get completely out of the way, and then it could be a Tajay Spears game. So I think he's sneaky flexible this week, Tajay Spears. Chig, if you need a tight end to throw in there, you can go Chig. Otherwise, I most likely probably have him as a sit as a low end tight end too. And then I'm starting D-Hop here, even though he's going up against these cornerbacks. I have him, as a starter here in a potential shootout. Could be some garbage time work that he gets. And I'm sitting, Westbrook, Akine, and all those other guys. So that should wrap up Titans Dolphins, your first Monday night game there. And then at the same time, I believe it is, or maybe just a few minutes offsetting, you're going to have the Packers, who are coming in 6-6. At the Giants, who are sitting at 4-8. Packers are coming in as 6.5-point favorites with 36.5-point over/under. You have Christian Watson dealing with the hamstring. He did not practice all week, and he's considered a long shot to play. The question are with the running backs here with Green Bay, with Aaron Jones dealing with that knee injury that we thought was going to be long term just a few weeks ago, but he was back to limited practices, and they're saying he's on track to return Monday night, depending on how tomorrow's practice goes. So keep an eye out on that. Hopefully you'll know before you have to make that decision on Sunday. Then you have the other running back, our boy here from the Get Right Fantasy Network intro, our boy AJ Dillon. He's dealing with a groin injury. He's been limited in back-to-back practices as well. But he's played through the same injury the last 2 weeks, so he should be good to go. It'll just be more so, how's this backfield split going to look if Aaron Jones does return. As far as the wide receivers go, again, we talked about Watson dealing with his hamstring. You also have Jaden Reed. He's dealing with chest. He's been limited back-to-back practice as well, but they say he's on track to play. So he should be good with Dobbs and Wicks and all those other guys that could get some extra targets if Watson doesn't play. On the Giants side of the ball, you just have your boy DeVito starting over there. I'm not starting him. I'm okay starting Love. I kind of have him in that top 15 type range. DeVito, I'm getting away from if I can. Pretty much only starting Barkley on the Giants side of the ball, out of respect to him. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. I can't trust anyone else here for fantasy points in a must-win week from the Giants. So I'd stay away. All right, so that should wrap up the game-by-game breakdowns there. My voice is pretty much shot at this point, so I'm coming in right at that 2-hour mark. So again, just big congratulations to Neanderthal for taking home our 1,000 subscriber ring from our boys over at trophysmack.com. If you guys want a ring like this, or maybe a belt, a trophy, or a chain, or definitely a ring like this, they're fully customizable. Go check out trophysmack.com and use that promo code GetRight on checkout. Other than that, man, I hope you guys also help support our affiliate channels. We got the Fantasy Frontline with Tim and AJ. They're live on Sunday taking your Q&A questions as well. We have the Checkdown podcast. They're usually here on Wednesday nights with Cody McGoat, Shirtless Pat, Greg, and the fellas over there. Then you got the Dead Zone Fantasy Show with our boy Adam J coming here soon. And then, like I announced tonight, we have the Tycoon from the host of the Fantasy Boardroom joining us here at Get Right Fantasy Network as one of our new analysts here alongside myself, Classic Mike, Dustin, and Frank. So with that said, man, we're going to get out of here. Again, appreciate all the support, man. Good luck to everybody out there tonight. Again, congratulations to Neanderthal. He's saying now he needs a league winner so he can put those rings together. So again, congratulations, my brother. Make sure you hit me up, send me a text so I can get your info. We'll get this thing shipped out to you here right away. I can't wait to see it. So yeah, man, enjoy. Appreciate you guys out there. Good luck here if you need wins. We'll be back here on Monday night. Well, first we'll be back here on Sunday. Classic Mike will. Myself and Frank will be back here Monday to overreact and find out if you made the playoffs. If you missed it, we'll kind of see what we could have done differently. But more importantly, we'll be hoping we got our lineups right heading into that week 1 of the playoffs. Or hopefully you clinch that bye and you can relax for a week and just enjoy some football. So again, from all of us here at Get Right Fantasy, again for Dustin, for Frank, for Classic Mike, and for the Fantasy Tycoon, I'm Rasta. This is Get Right Fantasy. We're out of here. Peace.
Wanted to write fantasy is the play. Marking nothing, but I tune in every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go